I'm a watchman, forever vigilant, steady watching and listening, disciplined, militant, killing these dudes that started visiting. What's the latest word, yo, Sil? We need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, Sil. We need to know the ins and outs. Who's walking out, buying in? We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show. Let's go.
Welcome to the audience here. We're talking the latest in CDM and geek news, plus the business behind it. We're gonna get a little box office information. But when I talk about DC and CDM news, that's the core of my channel. I love the aspects of what the guest here, Il Divino Vega. First off, he does the anthem for the channel, so a little biases with that, right? just a little biases with that.
Home team advantage there.
Yeah, exactly. But we definitely want to hear what you're saying, and as well. And pardon me for my Kentucky internet. It's gonna pop in here and there. I'm gonna freeze up here and there. It just happens. I accept it at this point. Okay, I just accept it. Vega knows what's going on, but we're gonna go forward as far as what's going on with this. But I got you on here because I think you're a very good buffer, Vega. Of I do several videos a week. I talk about the latest, in CDM news and notable DC stuff as well, but other film news as well too. That's notable,
right?
And you're a good buffer with that because hey, some of the audience may think, oh, sylabdul, you're leaning into the machine of Warner Brothers and everything like that. And I love when other guests has a different point of view. That reflects my audience, right? So we got Vega here. So first off,
yes, sir.
I want to kind of throw this to you. Jurassic World Rebirth has come out now. As far as what I understand, me and you both have not seen this yet. But leading up to this film, I'll just say for myself personally, I'm a millennial generation, so I grew up, when the first Jurassic Park dropped in the 90s, right?
Oh yeah.
It was a magical experience. Like it was like action horror, like we love dinosaurs as kids and big kids.
Yeah.
So I was looking forward to this film, and I am looking forward to seeing it. I haven't seen it yet. Different numbers are coming up out there, but what's your experience, Vega, just with the Jurassic Park franchise? Because like I said, I just grew up knowing it was like just nothing else like it.
Right. No, I agree. I think when it first came out, I mean, it was obviously it was an experience, right? Like you said, as a child, like like I was scared at the same time as being entertained, like or at all, like and then like being able to choose my favorite dinosaur, like I like the Velociraptor, so whatever, like things like that.
You don't like the Raptors,
you know what I'm saying? It was a thing. It was a for sure thing.
The T-Rex is like up there, but I like the Raptors. I like the way it's like.
I like that, I like that they're a team. You know what I'm saying? They work together.
Yeah. That's Lost World. For people out there, that was Lost World.
Yeah.
Established the Raptors always in teams. So
exactly. Man, I love the Lost World. Dude, like I was big on the video game that came out for the PlayStation back in the day for it. Now, all that to be said, like I'm thinking about what's happening now with Jurassic World or even the last Jurassic Parks, and I'm like, if I'm gonna like reflect on like what these numbers look like according to like what they've been doing with this franchise, I would say it's like what happened to what they did before. Like, where are the video games for this? I if it's out there, I don't see them. I don't see the heavy like merge and product push for this kind of franchise. So, when you're looking at that, and okay, now you're bringing it back with this, and I don't know, maybe you have to have a different direction, or I don't know, you're calling a rebirth. I have to assume that means you're going to approach it different from the last couple movies or something, or maybe just introducing something new as far as dinosaurs are concerned. But personally, in my opinion, I'm just like, where's the which is funny. We're going to be talking about marketing. I'm just like, where's the marketing for this film?
Let me interject for a moment. That's a very good when you say game, because like when these big franchises come out, you got all the marketing, and then games was a big thing, as we was growing up, right?
Yep.
And we don't see that with Jurassic World. I just want to interject with that. That was a good point.
You're right. I mean, and here, truthfully, you hardly even see that at all with any game, right? Like, or with anything, like, it's very far few in between now. You know what I'm saying? That there's certain IPs that or franchises that'll do that, but very few are doing it anymore, which is weird to me because it's like that was like a good way to like market a film, especially for kids. If you're gearing your audience towards kids or trying to build that audience for your movie, it's like that was a great way to do it. Because I remember the video games would come out, and that because even like they would do like it would be the video game would be the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like before in the back of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Like the story of the movie, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like a side note, like Matrix kind of did something. I wish that would have held. I wish the movies were better with Matrix after the original. Because like they had the tie-in game and they were setting up like another story. I was like, man, I wish they would have landed that, because that would have been pretty cool.
That was that was sick as how they did that. I ain't gonna stunt. That was I did like that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it is what it. I mean, like here's the thing. I'm definitely my way of engaging movies has changed. Before, I was probably a little bit more like, let's say, maybe like Rhea, you know what I'm saying? Where like it's always positive. I was always excited to see films. It didn't matter. Like I didn't care what nobody had to say about it. Like I was just gonna enjoy movies for the love of movies. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Rhea for that. I peep when she's on and when she does her own thing, and I love that positive energy she always has about these films.
Always.
Unfortunately, coming online and engaging in the warfare of movie critique and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And
everybody's not like Rhea.
Everybody's not like Rhea. You know what I'm saying? But all that to say, I realize like, oh no, okay, there are things to critique about films. You know what I'm saying? Like
for sure.
And probably more so like Millennial Mike really did me I guess the justice of like really showing me like the way he would break down movies. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was more things he would consider than I would, you know what I'm saying, when I was looking at a movie. And then so yeah, all that to say, and here's the thing, I can still go enjoy enjoy a movie, but it's like now I'm tainted by the ideas of like of critique. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like so like now
I think it's almost like a graduation thing though. You know what I'm saying? Like there is more to just like, oh, it's a popcorn movie. To be like, like, is there any character development? You know what I'm saying? It's a different conversation.
It's a different conversation. Yeah, exactly. So it's like that. So now every movie I watch, it's kind of on that end. You know what I'm saying? For the most part. And then especially when it's like a renowned movie, world-renowned movie, something like Jurassic World or something like Superman.
This is a big movie. Global. This is a big movie.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like something like this. Now I'm definitely watching on like, okay, hold on, let me see what they're doing here. But for the most part, I used to just like go in for a first watch, just enjoy the movie for what it is, and then I'll go in for a second watch to just like.
And I think it's like levels to this, right? Like it's like this isn't like us discussing, and I don't want to diss this film, but like F1, right? F1's out there right now with Brad Pitt. Great film from Apple Studios in conjunction with Warner Brothers. Is doing his money. And it's kind of a lower tier type of conversation, but when big IPs compared to Jurassic World, we're going to talk about DC Superman in a moment here. Like those are bigger conversations.
Yes, exactly. No, 100%, 100%. Then that's right. That's right. There's plenty of good movies out there right now that probably are worthy of discussion, but because they are lower tier, and again, that's not an offense. It's not this. It's just what it is. Like what I'm saying, when you're
levels.
Yeah, it's what it is. So to this movie though, I feel like where's the video games? Where's the promotion for that kind of stuff? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like especially even for and not even just this film. Actually, not even, and look, I'm not even trying to say just about this film. I'm talking about in general, like Jurassic Park, the Jurassic franchise. Like even for the
Where's
last
the
couple
tie-ins
movies.
at? Like, have you seen any? I don't know. Again, people in
No,
my comments be like, "Oh, I saw in my
Right.
local area they said it," but I haven't seen. At least with Superman, I mean, we'll get to Superman. At least they had Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Jurassic
No,
World.
right.
I don't know
I didn't
what's the
see
tie-in?
anything. I didn't hear anything. I don't know if Burger King had
That's
something
fair.
with them. I don't know if McDonald's, which again, these are things that back in the day you would see, you
Yep.
would do, and it made sense. You know what I'm saying?
True.
But yeah, like, but even like again, as a franchise as a whole, I just like even for the last movies, there was like no kind of video game for it. Not that I know of, not that I saw. Maybe there was. Maybe
those movies are trash though.
Yeah.
That was trash.
You know, I would say this. I thought it was. I wasn't too fond of it, but it did have an impact on kids. Like my nieces and nephews were into it. You know, like they were really into those movies. But I think
the animated stuff on Netflix that's
especially
been going hard with kids. Yeah,
especially. You know, so but and I think that maybe that's the flair of Jurassic Park is that that's its own cheat code. It's like kids love dinosaurs. You know what I'm saying? So via that, you'll always have that audience. You know, and now it's really a matter of like how good of a story can you also then give the adult audience? You know, like are we gonna actually but so I don't know, man. A part of me feels like even like with the trailer that I saw, like the last trailer I saw, it was like I don't know. I'm not quite. It feels repetitive. I feel like it feels repetitive, right? Like there's
as some of the reviews been saying that too.
Yeah, it feels repetitive. Like I feel like I'm seeing a lot of the same of like the the same stories from before. I'm like, huh? And I'm like, okay. And then I'm trying to understand like what just like a certain like creature there that I'm like, what am I looking at? What there is that like? Are they
Rancor from Aliens?
Yeah, is that like, is this? Are we about to see a crossover here between Alien and Predator franchise with Jurassic World?
Spoiler alert! No, you're not gonna get that, but they may borrow.
So I mean, I don't know. It's like in that trailer. There's just again, there was not. There were certain things that I just was like I questioned. You know what I'm saying? Now it's not going to stop me from watching the film because again, I do like.
I'm still going to see it. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I do like this franchise, and I want to see. And I'm actually interested in even like the performances of like the actors that are in, actors and actresses that are in this film.
Great cast, right? ScarJo, Mahershala Ali. I was like, you got me with that. It's just I gotta find time to see it, right? But I'm gonna definitely see it.
Yeah. So I mean, but other than that, I guess it's you would think if you're about to like launch something like a new chapter of this story, you'd think you just prepare us for it a lot better. You know what I'm saying? With better, just again like
marketing. So
marketing.
You are questioning the market, and that's not a bad thing to question because we're talking about tie-ins, marketing tie-ins, which I look at pretty aggressively. On my platform here, and it's like that's what I was questioning with Superman. I was like, you probably should go to Burger King. Definitely McDonald's. Do McDonald's like Batman Forever did back in the day when we was young. Right. McDonald's was a big thing, and they didn't do that. And I was questioning, okay, Dairy Queen, right? But then for Superman, but then with Jurassic World, I was like, man, like at least give us like some Carl's Jr. or something like something. Like do something, and you're right where they didn't really push it like that. Now I will say this: I'm going to interject. With the marketing side of this is that they came into Jurassic World Rebirth as saying we don't want to spend as much as we did before with Dominion and Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World. They are purposely spending less money. Right. So just want to let people know this, let the viewers know this. And so they're saying this is not $1 billion film. So I just want to break this to some people. I know people
right.
I'll lean into this like, $1 billion. Like just calm down a little bit. Like
right.
Enjoy the film. Like I'm not here like to tell you don't like the film. No. I want to watch it. As soon as they said ScarJo, Mahershala Ali, I was in.
Oh yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
To what's going to happen. whether it's good or not, to be quite honest with you. But now the audience score is one thing, and we're not going to spend too much time on that. But I mean, the reaction is there. The diehards are saying is not, top tier level, whatever. Okay, they say spent their money in this film, and they're getting a pretty good return for the first week of the film. And I'm going to just go and enjoy it for what it is overall. And they're hoping for another trilogy. Another trilogy with this cast. The film, just like they got with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. They got a trilogy. They want to do another trilogy with ScarJo and Mahershala Ali, right? And I don't know if that's spoiling anything. I haven't seen the film yet, but I'm just saying that's what they're saying. So that is one thing, but marketing is a key thing right now. With the numbers they're saying, it opened up on a Wednesday.
Right.
Now I was shocked. I worked during the week, so I heard it was a midnight showing. Like it was a Tuesday night, which was really Wednesday morning, midnight. And I was like, I mean, I gotta go to work tomorrow. I can't go see this. I can't do that, right? But mixed artist reaction. It is what it is. It's a dinosaur Jurassic Park film. Vega, I want to ask you this. And I probably already know the answer to this, but because we're the fans of movies that we are. But critic score, they were panning this film pretty early for Jurassic World Rebirth. And me, I'm just like, I want to see it for myself, but like, just so we can define it on camera, how does critic score affect you, especially Rotten Tomatoes is probably the main thing, where they come out and they say, oh, this is, this is too dark, or this is too, like, how does that affect you personally?
It doesn't affect me personally at all. Really at all. Like, it doesn't move the needle in any way, shape, or form for me personally. And that's how I've always been. Like, always. Like, again, because like going back to like how I said, like I used to be like Ray, where everything was like I'm just going into like so positive. Like, I just loved movies, right? So like I really I've always hated the concept of critics.
And I love film, but it's like the critical side of it.
Yes. So again, so you were right earlier when you're like there is a graduation to this, right? Because there are films that are definitely more critical, that deserve more critical thinking and a critique of that manner, where like other films are just they're what they are. They're there to entertain you. But like I used to hate it because it was like, it's like I'd go want to watch a movie, but then I have the friends that are into the whole like, well, Rotten Tomatoes said this, and so I'm like, whatever. And I'm like, the hell, who gives a damn? Like, let's go watch this movie. And sometimes it would be like we'd go watch this movie, and I thought it was great, like it was hilarious. I laughed my ass off, and then they're like, oh no, it was whatever, like hard critiquing, and it's like, but it's like, then come to find out they're only reverberating what they read on Rotten Tomatoes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you guys. So that's what I hate about the whole critical.
That's why I say the graduation. Like, don't rely on the critical.
That's when you rely on the critics. That's when it's like, oh man, like you guys are kind of like doing yourself an injustice there. So that's
we've been through that through BVS. We've been through Man of Steel, BVS. We've been through that.
Yeah, and I think that's when for me, that's when it was like where like I just detested them, because it's like it's one thing when you like, or like I've been having to put up with you guys my whole life with all these other films, whatever. But now you guys are trying to shit on the movies that I actually love and I'm passionate about, like because it's DC, it's my favorite characters, and then when I go watch the movies, they are actually great movies, and somehow you guys are spewing your lies, and it's like that's when I was like, yeah, I'm done with you guys for sure. Y'all need to get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all need to just go. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Exactly. It's like the because again, and to be fair, like I said, I got some critic friends out there, and we're not trying to shit on you personally, but what we're saying is that the collective, I'll say it like this: I know there's a group of critics where they see the film together and they once they see the film, they talk amongst themselves to say, what score are we going to give this? Right. That's a real thing out there right now. Me as like a leaker, like I bring you into that because like they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that they all discussing their score the premiere night, right? And that's what they're going to do with all these films. They did this with Jurassic World. You know, they gave it a bad score. They're going to do this again with Superman, Fantastic Four, and beyond, right? This isn't nothing new. But, you know, me as like this, you know, again, this renegade independent person, I'm telling you what they're doing. And all I'm saying is that it's bullshit. Just it's about your own experience and but I do take cinema score seriously because those are people that are like first, you know, midnight or whatever when it comes out. They do give their, you know, idea of the film if they don't like something that happened in it, right? But the critic side, like I said, I just wanted to kind of define that is that I'm not worried about what critics say about Jurassic World or any film. You know, like I said, we went through this with BVS and Man of Steel and whatever. But with Jurassic World, they panned it. But audience, and again, me and you, this is great because we haven't seen the film yet. But according to the audience score, it is a lower audience score of diehard people. And from what I'm hearing is that there's stuff in the film that happens that maybe they don't agree with, or like maybe you kill off a character they didn't want you to kill off, you know, things like that. That's what cinema score and audience score did. But I think of all IPs, Vega, Jurassic World or Park or whatever you want to call it, just like Transformers or something like that. It's kind of like audience and critic proof. Like, when you come out with a film with this franchise, I think we're just going to see it, right?
That's true. That's true. Like, there's certain IPs, and this is what among them. Like, it doesn't really matter what's said about it. It's like I'm gonna go watch it. It's still what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that whole dinosaurs. You know what I mean? Like, you're not. It's almost. It's uniquely its own thing because of that. Like, nobody else is making movies about dinosaurs, so they got a monopoly on dinosaurs. You know what I mean? Like,
it's monopoly horror. It's like these jump scares, but it's like a family film somehow.
Right? You know, we're gonna scare.
That's a unique thing, and that's what we grew up with. That's why I put it out there, because it's like people that's like amongst our generations, like we grew up with this, and it's like it was nothing like that before that. That's what I'm kind of understanding now. I'm like, previous generations didn't have Jurassic Park in the 90s.
No,
like we got that growing up. You know, I'm like, but in saying that, you're kind of cursed trying to, you know, redo that formula, because like I said, I like Lost World because that was all Jeff Goldblum.
Oh man,
right? Somehow they gave him like a black child. It's like, okay, whatever. But it's like okay, we'll accept it. It's Jeff Goldblum. Okay, we'll go with it. But it's like, if you know, you know with that. But it's like we accepted the genre. Now, Jurassic Park 3 wasn't that good, and then Jurassic World reboot was pretty good at first, and then went off the rails. So it's a genre that I think it's kind of like a generational thing. So we're gonna be there. That's my point. We're gonna be there for this film. It's gonna make decent.
It's gonna make its money still, like you said, and like you said, it's our generation, right? So I think we're all gonna go watch it. And again, I just think again, this when you got a monopoly on something. Like, whoa, wait, Papa,
no one else is doing it.
Nobody else is doing it. And my bad, my dog just came in here like scared to crap. Like, whoa.
Live television, folks. Live television.
Right.
We're doing that. Oh, good. No, like I said, you know, because I didn't have time. You know, when it came out at a weird time, like Wednesday. I'm like, okay, I gotta work like all week.
Yeah,
I can't. I can go to a midnight showing and things like that. And then this weekend, I pretty much do all my videos on Saturdays. So
Yeah.
I may see it like either tonight or even a Sunday or discount Tuesday. $5 Tuesday is a good time for me to see it. But according to the numbers that we showed up there, it's doing pretty good. For it's kind of when I talk about cheat codes, like Disney live remakes,
right?
Where kids love Lion King and they love Lilo and Stitch. You got the Gen Z. They grew up with Lilo and Stitch and Minecraft. So parents and kids are going to go see. Parents got to take the kids to go see it. That's a cheat code. That's not fair.
For sure.
It's not fair.
It's not fair at all, but it is. But it's the game.
It's great business. Great business. Mufasa wasn't fair. That was not fair at all. Because kids, they want to see Lion King. The parents may not even care about the film, but they got to take them. So you got 4 tickets right there. Yeah. Right. So you make money off of that. With Jurassic World, I think it's the same cheat code with that.
I think so too. Yeah.
It's making its money overall. Now, what do you think? Like, because we're on a transition here. Like, you got a big month of July, right? Let me throw up the my July list that I pretty much use every stream at this point because I love people's thoughts on that. And so it starts off with Jurassic World, like Super Jurassic as they call it. Now next week is Superman. There, right now we're gonna bookmark that for a moment. You got Smurfs coming out, which people are flying. I tell you, don't pick that fight right there with Smurfs, okay?
Man,
I know what you did last summer.
We'll go if we have to go. Honestly, I don't know what the hell everybody. I don't know what the hype is with that.
And actually, let's actually go into this. So let's start. Okay, so we started with Jurassic World reboot. Right? Again, I think it's going to make a profit. I don't know. It could be 7, 8, 900 million, whatever it does. Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, whatever makes its money. Right. Bookmark Superman, because we're going to talk about that in a moment.
Right.
Eddington, this is like a small, like artsy film with
it looks like
Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal. So it's gonna be limited money with that. So
it's gonna be limited money, but I think it'll do good money just because it's got 2 powerful actors, especially I feel Joaquin Phoenix has made a name for himself within the past, you know what I'm saying, like decade or so, and that's just like I know I'm gonna see it just because of Joaquin Phoenix. Like, okay,
I
want to see what you know what I'm saying.
I didn't know,
but it's not. I'm not gonna pretend like it's gonna make numbers like a
right.
Jurassic World or a.
No, we're talking about like 50 million.
Yeah,
the film the film probably costs less than 10 million to make.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And if it makes 30, 40, 50 million, that's a profit. That's just business. Right? That's just business with that. So good artsy film. I think that's a good like counter programming, in the middle of July to do like a artsy film type thing, right? So, but it comes out the same week as Smurfs. Now let's kind of talk on Smurfs because I've been seeing people coming in my chat, kind of capping a little bit about Smurfs, like it's it's going to take out big IPs. Smurfs is tracking to do about 20 million, according to just the forecasts that's out there. Cool. It got Rihanna a part of it as well too. I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of kids. Again, I don't know how this IP's been doing like with merch and stuff like that, but a lot of kids are asking for Smurfs. I'm just gonna be honest with you out there.
Yeah, I haven't. Like, I don't know any kid who's asking for Smurfs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm just saying.
I got plenty of nieces and nephews that and some that are still like really young.
They like dinosaurs and stuff, but Smurfs,
they're talking dinosaurs, maybe some Hello Kitty, something like that, or
Minecraft. They like Minecraft,
but I have not heard Smurfs in that conversation. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry to say, if you're part of the Smurf turf, this it's not it. No, look, I will give it some grace and say, look, I'm not saying that Smurfs is nothing. Like, there is an audience for Smurfs, of course there is. And yes, it's maybe parents that are looking to, in that week of July, whatever of that week, maybe if there's something that they're trying to go watch with their kids, that looks like it's the movie, right? Like obviously they're gonna choose that over Eddington, right, to go watch with the kids. So there is an audience for that. I'm not gonna pretend
there's a
like
lane there for
there's a
Smurfs.
lane there. It's not so, but it's not like it's like, oh, it's a big IP. It's not it again. I have not heard any, hype for it. At best, it's gonna be just a good film to go see with your kids. And look, if it's a good film, then maybe word of mouth might actually do something for it. You know what I'm saying? And I saw the trailer for it when I went to go see Mission Impossible, which I thought was great movie.
Final Reckoning was pretty good watch.
Yeah, it was a really good watch. But I saw the Smurfs trailer then, and I'm like, I really wasn't impressed. Like the graphics for it looked weird. Like the
animation overall.
The animation looked weird to me. I was like, huh? Like compared to the other. And look, here's the thing. I actually did like the other Smurfs movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought they were entertaining. They were funny. You know what I'm saying? Like for what it is, it was good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's again. I'm not putting it on the same. It's not on my Mount Rushmore. You know what I'm saying? But for what it was entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Like I was
like Chipmunks films,
like
right?
Chipmunks,
that's kind of where I put.
Exactly. That's where that's at. Exactly. That's great.
It's levels to this, y'all.
There's levels to this. There is levels. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not gonna pretend like Smurfs is some sort of like big IP on the level of Jurassic World, or even if we're gonna talk like animation, it's definitely not on the level of like, I don't know, it's a great, something like Minecraft, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Or
we don't say like any Disney animation,
right?
Or I mean, just honestly, you're not gonna put it against Marvel and quite frankly, DC. You're not gonna put Smurfs against that.
No, you're not.
Be real about
even
that.
If it was like DC's or Warner Brothers, like let's say like a Warner Brother animation, if they were to actually release the Animaniacs right now, like that would do something.
Oh man! Smurfs. And first of all, Animaniacs again. We're talking about generational things here. Animaniacs is like us, but let's say like with you got this new Cat in the Hat, Warner Brother animation film. That's guaranteed going to do bigger than what Smurfs is talking about.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, man. Again, it's there's an audience for like again, that's if families or parents are looking to go watch a film with their kids, that'll be the one for sure. Mm-hmm. But again, it's not because I don't think it's going to be because kids are like, oh, go take us to see Smurfs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more of like a parent choice to like, all right, this is
because again, we're more aware of Smurfs. Like we've kind of come up and but like I think like Gen Z, they didn't grow up with Smurfs like we did.
No,
we're talking about like a 15-year difference right here with generations. So it's like they didn't grow up with Smurfs like us. Exactly. So coming up with this film, you want to get a new audience, you want to get some nostalgia, but it's not on the level, of Jurassic IP. It's not on the level of that.
Definitely not. Again, it's like, when did I can't even. How long ago was it that Smurfs animated movies came out? Like it, like what 10 years ago, maybe?
Like, it had to be at least 10 or 15 years. Like we were saying, like it's a generational gap.
Yeah, it's not frequent enough to me to pretend like it's that big of an IP. You know what I mean? Like now it'd be different if it was like it just came out
constant.
If it was like a consistency to that. You know what I'm saying? And like, or like, we just had that Smurfs movie like 2-3 years ago. Then it's like, okay, maybe. And then there has to be, again, when we're talking about kids actually, would want to watch Smurfs, right? If there is an audience for that, then it's like, again, where it's like, well, where's the video game of Smurfs? Where's the merchandise of Smurfs? Where's all that?
That marketing angle, you got a great point with that, because it's like, when did that change, right? And I'll take that because we're going to get into the DC part of this. For sure. But I'm trying to think when that changed with I remember when films, because I always go back, and I'm just a sucker for this, but I go back to the 90s when Batman Forever came out.
Right.
And you had the toys, you had McDonald's with the Hero Burger, which was on a hoagie bun with 3 patties and 2 slices of cheese and some special sauce. And it's like, everything was marketing Batman.
Yeah.
You know, and the game came out and things like that. And it's like, when did that change, bro? I'm really trying to. I think it was like the change of the millennium, like 2000s, where they just stopped doing games, McDonald's, everything, toys.
I think it's a little later than that.
Okay.
Because I feel like, again, like, because like the Spider-Man movies came out early 2000s.
So you're talking about Raimi. You're talking about Raimi.
Yeah, the Raimi Spider-Man and stuff. So like that one was still like a lot like that.
Because I think that was another thing right there, though, with Raimi. Well, when I'm saying it's like when did it change, I'm talking about McDonald's, toys, everything, games. Like late 90s was that moment.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Every like the turn of the century,
could it be maybe? And I don't know. This is me just trying to, because you're right. That is a great question to like kind of actually.
And this is off the top, right? Because
we
didn't research it. Like,
we didn't research it. I'm sure the answer is out there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but it is interesting because it's like it's almost like I don't know, like maybe. Is it that too many movies? There's like such a influx of movies that have like in the more like towards the latter years of, I guess, the past decade or whatever. So is it that the release of movies is so plentiful that there's a hard, how much it costs to actually do something with McDonald's and Burger King, and I don't know, like,
costs.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm sure that that's they probably charge more now. Like, I don't know what it is, but that's I do wonder, like, what happened here, like,
And they get up just off the shoot of a question, because I just remember that was like a golden moment, like late 90s. It was just, you had games, McDonald's, you had toys, merch, everything, and then something changed.
Magazines.
The turn of 2000, where it's just like, okay, we're gonna save money, or what's going on?
I think that's probably what it was. Probably save money. Maybe they thought look. I think there's one thing we could probably assume here, that it's probably most accurate, and that's that there was probably a think tank experiment of like, okay, let's see what's the most effective way of marketing, and that's what we're sticking to, so we can save money on this end. And maybe they put in, and it would stand to probably be true that they probably just put all their money into into one basket of like, social media is the thing, just bombard that, you know what I'm saying? Whether
it makes sense. That makes sense, like, because something changed. Like, something definitely changed. Like when we were younger to 20 years later, where we're at now. Where it's like there's more strategic. I see them doing like more international stuff with films instead of like domestically, and it's just like, I just wonder, like, is that Batman? Even when Matt Reeves' Batman came out, it was like, oh, we're gonna do like a little Caesars thing. It's like, what? Batman used to be McDonald's.
Yeah.
And again, Matt Reeves' Batman did decent money, but it wasn't that same push that I remember from the 90s.
No, do you think that's that movie was a bit more, I guess, darker and mature than previous Batman films?
And that maybe that's what it was, right? In the late 90s, we're talking about post. Well, even Tim Burton, they were selling merch like crazy. 89 Batman. When I rewatched these documentaries, because I was too young to realize what was going on then. But it's like, I was heard that they were pushing a lot of Batman took over the world late 80s.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's evident. Yeah, that's just evident.
Even it was a dark. Batman '89 is not a kid's film.
That's not. It's not at all. Not really. Like, as much as like we like to pretend it is, it's really not.
So it's like, but then again, they try to adjust, with the Schumacher films, and recipe Schumacher and Val Kilmer. For Batman Forever, and then they did Batman and Robin. It was more of like a kids focused thing, but it's like something changed after that, where it wasn't about McDonald's toys anymore. You know what I mean? Where we kind of grew up thinking that. So man, that's more of an open-ended thing.
Yeah.
People in the chat they'll probably Google, and the AI will tell them something. What's going on with that? But let's transition, because, like I said, that'll be a never-ending question right there with that.
Right.
But Superman, at the time of this recording, I'm gonna try to get this out there during the Superman week, whether people like it or not. This is a pretty big week coming up for Warner Brothers and Superman and DC. Let me say it like this, Vega, because I want to. People love when Vega's here, because they feel he brings me back down to earth a little bit and normalize me a little bit. But let's be clear with this marketing, okay?
Yeah.
On the left, 2016. Apparently, I don't even remember seeing this water tower in 2016, but apparently they were marketing Batman vs Superman pretty hard. Now, I will say, outside of this, and I want to ask you as well too. In 2016, Batman vs Superman, I think, was everywhere. I think they pushed the heck out of that marketing. What do you remember with that? Because it was like airlines and stuff like that. They were doing big things in 2016.
Yeah, no, it was pretty big. I mean, yeah, you're talking about almost every. They obviously they made the rounds of like the TV rounds, like the commercials, the way that they found ways to like even implement it into the night shows and shit like that. It was like being promoted even like in other movies. You had yeah, I mean, I can't remember everything that they were how they pushed, but yeah, I remember it was being pushed everywhere. Like
it
was pretty big. No, it was a big deal. It was a big deal, big enough that it was a conversation I was even having with people that are not like comic book or DC fans. Like this, it wasn't even like they even probably saw Man of Steel, but they heard about BVS.
Yeah, that's a great point you just said right there, because I remember like friends in the family, they were talking about, I don't remember them saying anything about Man of Steel, but they were talking about BVS the weekend of the launch. It was like, now in that case, they were talking about the bad word of mouth, which I was like, okay, no, I was like, no, go see it. Go see me. No, I don't care what anyone's telling you.
Right. No, it's so the funny thing is, for me, I was experiencing this even before the movie came out, right? Like there was people, and look, I guess credit where credit is due. As much as we did want that Man of Steel 2, right?
Yeah.
And it probably would, and it for sure would have been successful too, I think.
Oh, for sure.
And unfortunately, like, all right, like, Warner Brothers or whatever wanted to, like,
they want to. Let's be clear, real quick, Vega. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder had an idea to do a proper, Superman follow up with Brainiac, right?
Yes.
And I think Metallo as well. I think he wanted to do Metallo as well.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers pretty much forced him to fast track Batman.
Yes.
Because Zack always planned to do Batman. You got the Wayne tech in Man of Steel.
Right.
But Zack was going to kind of probably wait another movie.
Right.
And Zack's a good soldier, so he's not going to, tell on people. But Warner Brothers forced him to do Batman a little sooner than later.
Yes.
And the result, though, let me say this, and I want you to finish what you're saying.
For sure.
The result is that BVS is the greatest CBM film ever. So everything is after that, in my opinion. So,
yes.
But just want to make sure
that's
say that.
Well said. Well said. Well said. Well said. No, I mean, that's good. No, you're right. We definitely needed to articulate that. That is the facts.
Disclaimer.
But, and all that to be said, though, that like you like the way you ended what you just said is exactly what I was getting to, and that's that regardless of how you feel about them fast tracking that, it was successful. Like regardless of the slander that I believe was what's what I'm looking for, coordinated. I believe it was coordinated. You know what I'm saying? Like, because none of it really ever made sense to me. You know what I'm saying? And still doesn't to this day. Some of the critique I kind of got right. Like, okay, like maybe you struggle to actually follow a story in a movie, so you need more details to it, right? Who knows, right?
I challenge anyone when people say, "Oh, BVS," they say it's not for me or convoluted, whatever. I mean, wait till you see James Gunn Superman film, but okay. But also too, because he has way more characters than Zack Snyder has.
Right.
But if you didn't follow the story, I'm willing to challenge anyone. Don't just clickbait me. Like, say, what do you actually have a problem with? Because
where'd you get lost? What were you confused with? Yeah, 100%. I do the same too, because it's like I don't really get how you can say that. You know what I'm saying? But again, it is what it is. But all that to say, what I'm trying to get at here is going back to the people who didn't, I know for sure, probably didn't even see Man of Steel. That's again, they're not into the comic book movies like that. They're not even like MCU fans. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just casual people that I worked with and stuff. Some of them were even females, girls that I worked with, and they're talking to me about this movie that's about to come out. Like, oh, what's this Batman and Superman movie, huh? Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like people that just and the obvious answer there is like I think Batman being in the film is what was the debate.
I mean, and it's not even fair. We talk about cheat codes, right?
That was a cheat code. That was a cheat code. That was a cheat code. Is my whole point. That was a cheat code because the reality is the Dark Knight trilogy did so well that and even before that, like again, like you said, Batman took over in '89 since Burton, and Batman's been that character ever since. It just took over, and so then when you have just a the cherry on top at that moment after following the Dark Knight trilogy, that was just the cherry on top. Like, okay, best comic book character ever, beloved by all the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, then that was just a fact.
We have Batman, and that's the thing with Warner Bros. And it's like whether they will that properly or not, they have that Batman tool like in their pocket,
in their pocket, anytime. Yeah. And so that was the thing. I remember that was the thing. Is my whole point is that this film had so much promotion behind it, the BVS, that even people who don't care for it or like they don't care for really DC movies or things of that nature, but that movie was promoted so hard that we were talking about it, and they would come and ask me like, oh, so, because they knew that that was my thing. Like, I'm into those movies, right? And like from the both jobs that I was working at the time, that's what it was. They'd be like, "Yo, Vega."
That was a big time. Like, we're talking about 2016 BVS rollout. It was everywhere, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was everywhere, dude. I mean, yeah, it even to the point where, like, again, so I used to at the time. Interestingly enough, I was working at Wingstop, bro, and I was having right.
I'm just saying, right around the corner from me.
Dude, trust me. You know what I'm saying? All day. But dude, I was having conversations with even customers, bro, about this movie.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like
BVS?
Yeah, bro, BVS. Like the hype for it was real. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a lot of hype for it, and then yeah, like it was whether it was like, like people were excited for it because like, yo, like Batman and Superman in the same film, like who would have known? Like who could make this, I'm like, who would have thought? It was like that. Like, what the hell? Like, this is crazy.
Huge.
It was huge. It was a huge thing. And so again, like whether you hate that they fast track that or not, it obviously was what people in a sense wanted without knowing that that's what they wanted.
That's true. I like when you say that, Vic, because that's why I prefaced it with Zack Snyder. Again, just according to apparently what he was planning, he wanted to do a proper Superman follow up, Brainiac, Metallo, and he was seeding Batman. He wanted to do BVS the whole time, he wanted to seed it until the proper time. 100%. And Warner Brothers forced it.
Yes.
After Man of Steel, $670 million is still $670 million, but and it's the biggest Superman box office performance ever. but and profit wise as well too. So y'all
Right.
check that, you nerds out there,
Yeah.
check the numbers on the marketing, and he did product placement with IHOP and stuff like that. Okay,
Yes.
so yeah,
Yes.
okay, so the biggest performer Superman film ever, but they panicked because it was Avengers time, right?
Yes.
Avengers
Yeah.
was big, Marvel was big, so they got scared. Let's
Yep.
inject Batman, and Zach was going to do a proper Superman sequel, and then the end of the trilogy do Batman versus Superman, right? So it was always in their back. That's my point. It was in their back pocket the entire time.
Yeah.
And so when they introduced it,
Mhm.
the world was on notice, right?
Yes.
From Comic-Con to
Yes.
the False Guide trailer and
Man.
things like that. This took over the world, even to the Doomsday trailer. Though people hate that they revealed it in the trailer,
Right.
DC was dominating the conversation.
They definitely were.
At that time.
They definitely were that at that time, dude. It was a thing. It really was a thing. And it was, like I said, it was crazy because, again, I'm talking to people about this movie that I know for sure aren't into these movies. It was almost every customer I was speaking to at Wingstop when I'm working the cash register was like, we're talking about this film. Young people, old people, the range was crazy, you know. And it was because of, like you said, that marketing for that film was really heavy. Maybe, and person I would say maybe a little too heavy. Like, again, I'm one of those people that, like, yo, you're showing too much. You're showing
they show too much. And I think they're doing it now, and we'll get to the James Gunn Superman, but I think they're doing it now as well too. Just want to interject.
No, I would agree. I actually would agree with that, and I think again, it's even then, as much like it was. Then I could say it was like you said, it was this scare. You know, you're looking too hard at the competition out there, and you freaked out. That's why we got that film in the first place. And then even when you're marking it too heavy. Like, you know, you're showing too much that you shouldn't be showing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's like relax, right? Like relax.
And, yeah, like
and again, we're going to transition in a second to what's going on now. I think they should relax now. Like, okay, hey, we know James Gunn's directing this. Okay, we get it. Right. Like, you want to show us stuff, like, relax a little bit, Warner Brothers. Like, you know, because we saw what y'all did with Zach. Y'all kind of undercut his film. And I'm not gonna get into the China stuff. I'll just say this. I don't like to pat my own back here, but I was the first one to talk about the China being undercut, China numbers being undercut years ago, because I did the research on that. But my point is that relax, Warner Brothers, relax. With Batman, all you had to do was say, "Oh, Batman's in this film," and do little clips and stuff of the first act, and you would have got your $1 billion. And
people were already excited for this film with Batman. I mean, look at that water tower, dude. That shit actually looks sick. I ain't gonna stunt. I like that water. The black with the red. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, come on, man. Hey, matter of fact, I mean, dude, they were promoting that movie so hard. The fact that it even came out in I Am Legend. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember that.
That was
they were seeing that early.
Yeah, they were sitting it early, dude. Again, they went hard, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys did enough, so it was kind of like, yo, now you guys are doing too much. You know what I'm saying? You guys did a pretty decent job, and now you're just doing too much
in the trailer. Like, relax.
You know.
Dude. And now with this new Superman, so let's kind of transition to the new Superman.
Yeah,
because I think they're doing too much now. It's like, and people realize, as far as my background with content, like, obviously I'm a Snyder fan, so we talked about the Snyder Cut when they first announced it in 2021.
Right.
I've been talking about, or in 2020, I've been talking about leading up to the 2021 release as much as any other channel out there. So obviously we love what the Snyder Cut and the Snyderverse was, and leading up to the BVS film, though, going back, I was like, relax.
Yeah.
On the marketing, I remember I was like in the middle of a bar or something. I was like out in the club, and the Doomsday trailer dropped. I was like, what are y'all doing? Why y'all showing Doomsday in the trailer, bro? I was literally in the middle of the bar. I remember where I was at
I
when
was so
Doomsday.
frustrated.
I was like, why are you showing this dude?
Yeah.
And at that time, I was more on Facebook and things like that at that time. But and so with this new Superman,
right,
is what we want to get to for the rest of this conversation is that the marketing at first, because I have a video with you on my channel where it was like, are they really marketing? Like, what are they doing?
Right,
like,
what's going on here? Yeah,
it's like, what's it? And then since then, I've been told, and you've seen it in real time, that they've put more money in this marketing. Now, again, more money in marketing doesn't mean is good marketing, but I'm just saying, generally, they put more in. Can we agree with that first? Because I want to make sure we're checkpointing this as we go. You see, because it was a thing where it's like, oh, are they marketing this film? You've seen the marketing.
No, honestly, you would almost think that they heard our conversation. You would almost think that, because it was like we said that, you released that video, and all of a sudden it was like, heavy marketing.
Every day.
You know what I'm saying? It was like bam, bam, bam. It's like, okay, they must have heard us talk about this. You know what I'm saying?
So more marketing definitely globally has been done with this film. And that's what they should do. Again, business-wise. Again, my job, I'm into marketing. So that's what I do. So it's like I've been kind of, in a sense, advising Warner Bros. Like, hey, you should probably do this. You know what I mean? Just in public form, like, hey, you probably should, do more of this. So, and they really put the money into this. Like, this is part of their max marketing budget, for the year they're doing for Superman. Meaning, they're going to make sure this makes the numbers it needs to make. Now, I'm not here to argue about what it's going to do and things like that. That's not what we're here for. It's how's it hitting. How is it hitting for different audiences? Gun Glazers, I know they love whatever he's doing with this film. DC audiences overall, I think it's a mixed thing. But with Vega here, let's be clear, right? For the audience here, we enjoyed the epic Snyderverse run of DC. And I still feel Zach will do more DC again. I feel he will have a chance to do an Elseworld story of his DC. I will not give that up until Zach gives it. Right? Zach hasn't given up. So we're not going to stop pressing for that. I want to see that vision. Right. As far as what they're doing now, as far as mainline DC, how is this marketing hitting? Now, first, before you answer, let me throw this up here. This is a little clip. There's a leaked review of James Gunn Superman. All right, I did a live stream in real time. Y'all probably seen this before you see this stream, but I did this earlier today, and we kind of touched on what they're talking about. But this synopsizes what's people's critique of James Gunn Superman. So let me throw this up here right now.
We'll take my ride.
Now, in fact, I should probably do the goggles on this. Hold up. Before you, because I don't need Warner Brothers striking me down. They've been pretty hard on me lately. All right, so let's throw this up here. All right, so we're gonna watch this here, then we'll go to Vegas thoughts. All right, I promise. Let's throw this up. All right.
You want me to drive?
We'll take my ride.
You have a flying saucer, but you couldn't get a faster garage door?
I haven't worked on that yet.
Dude.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to throw it up there. Big. I don't know if you saw that clip yet.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately,
that's a real end time clip. Now, on my channel, I showed the whole kaiju clip they put up there as well. Too. There's a silliness with that.
Yeah.
And I've said a month ago, I said, once I saw the 5-minute preview of Crypto trouncing on Superman, right? This is a good time to to replay that just so people get the context of what we're talking about. Stop. There's going to be, and again, I followed the behind the scenes of this film.
Yeah.
Where it's a lot of action in this film.
Yeah.
Views are coming in. They're saying, oh, no, it's a lot of action. No. Gunn is, I mean, if you saw Guardians 3, he had a lot of action in that as well, too. But a lot of undercutting levity with jokes and humor and, and things like that. It's going to be an uneven experience. And that's what I said for myself, is that I may like some action moments, but it's going to be moments like that we saw with Mr. Terrific, who I'm dying to see on the big screen.
Yeah.
You're making him a one-liner joke.
Yeah.
I just want to give you time to talk about that. How's that land?
No, that's the, again, going back to our last conversation about this, like when we were discussing this very thing, this is what bothers me. Like, it's like, and when I see that, because again, I told you then, like, yeah, Mr. Terrific is probably the only thing that I'm kind of really excited to see in this film that, looks good. He sounds good. And I'm waiting to see what he does with this, with that character, like, especially that actor.
And Eddie Gathegi, he's been done wrong by the X-Men franchise, and
unfortunately, right?
Great with DC.
But I even liked them in the X-Men franchise before they decided to do him dirty within the film. But it is what it is. But yeah, so I definitely was like, all right, cool. I'd like to see what he does with Mr. Terrific, whatever, But yeah, like it's these clips like that it's just like, what are you doing? Like, and so it's like, a part of me is glad that you're doing. Thank you for like revealing the truth about what you're doing here, because now I know I don't have to waste my time,
Right.
So I kind of appreciate that. Like, all right, I appreciate that, I'm actually seeing what's in this film and how these characters are being treated. So I'm like, you know what? Thank you for showing me. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, on a personal level, I appreciate.
Expound on that though. Expound on that when you say like, okay, this is what they're doing. I'm good. Yeah. So it's too silly, or what are we saying?
It's too silly for me. Like, again, just that scene alone. It's just there's. It's not even necessary.
This is Mr. Terrific. Like, his first time on the big screen.
Yes.
You want to waste time with this
that's my
silly
point.
Joke. It's like,
that's my point. Like, this is Mr. Terrific. Man. And this again, this is the equivalent of, like, I'll put it like this. That wouldn't necessarily happen with like someone like Iron Man. You know what I mean? Again, we're talking about tech guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You wouldn't treat Iron Man this way, because it's like, this is Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is Tony Stark. And this is what I mean. Like, put some respect on Mr. Terrific's name, bro. Like, come on, man.
I feel that.
Like, you're gonna just do, like, give him this. Like,
don't reduce him to this.
You know what I mean? And that's what I've. And this is not the only scene like that does this. But that's like for sure a perfect scene to just use as an example to what I am not liking about this film. And especially with something like a character like Mr. Terrific, like you said, this is his first time on the big screen. The least you could have done was like, but this is my point. Gunn can't do that. Like, Gunn can't do that. He can't respect these characters. That's just not in his nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is why I was already on the fence with Superman before we even got all the trailers. And when we were all discussing this is exactly what I said. Is like, I'm scared for the Gunnisms, like that the way you categorize it. This is what I'm scared of, because especially with these characters, I don't care that he did this with Suicide Squad, because it's like, whatever. No. Like, I mean, I hear what he did in the sense of like ruining the continuity that came before. With
the Air characters, I did care about.
That's what I'm referring to.
You do too, Rick Flag and stuff like that.
Yeah. But like, let's just say if those guys weren't in the film and it was just all the other guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like, go crazy.
Go crazy.
Yeah.
You do. Whatever
you do.
You know what I'm saying? And you can do that with those characters. Go ahead. Go crazy.
We don't care. Like,
we don't care. And matter of fact, I mean, I laughed. I even laughed in that film. So I would have laughed.
I would give him that with him, the scene with Peacemaker and Idris Elba, they was like doing this shootout. I was like, okay, that was goofy,
Right.
but whatever. That's your characters.
That's just your character.
Do what you want to do. Don't
Right.
mess with Ayer's character.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And granted, I'm not saying that again, even with that, like I'm not saying that that's the right move, but at the end of the day, again, it's right. At the end of the day, it's not the big guys. It's not, you know what I'm saying? You're not touching Superman, you're not touching, Green Lantern, and you're not touching the league. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what mattered, right? So it's like you're dealing with the ragtag guys. Whatever, that would have been fine.
No.
But again, when it was like known, okay, first he's head of DC Studio or co-head of DC Studios, and then it's like doing the Superman film, and this was what I was afraid of. It's like, oh no, like I don't know if he can do this, like proper, to my liking. I'll probably say that, just because again, I'm sure there's a fan base out there that wants this. You know what I'm saying? That they like.
No, and let's be clear, like again on this platform, and I said this probably before we start recording. It's like there's a different overlap of different audiences that they love the Gunnisms, right? And so anytime I say that, I gotta be ready to defend myself in certain people where they feel, and this is my drop. I always say when they say, "Oh, you don't like what Gunn's doing with these DC characters?"
Hey, you don't read comic books.
It's like, no, I grew up reading comic books. Like I understand he's pulling from comic books, but I don't want that. I don't want that.
I got something about that, though. I got something about that. And this is the thing is that the thing about a comic book is that it's one installment in a bigger story. And in that bigger story, it's a whole different character than that one moment in that one comic where, like something silly happens. You know what I'm saying? There's a catalog of a whole story.
That's a great point.
Gives you more about the character.
Because people's like, oh, Crypto did this one comic, but like that entire run, Crypto wasn't acting like that, or looked like that, or whatever. Or Superman didn't act like that. Like I got people telling me on my comments now, that scene where he burrowed under the ground. I'm not gonna play it now, but because Warner Bros. Is after me now. But I played it last week, a couple of days ago, and he's fighting the kaiju, and then he burrows underground for like 10 seconds. I'm like, Gunn. Like, why are you wasting time on this? And someone said, "Oh, one comic, Superman burrowed underground before." It's like, bro, I don't care what that comic said. That doesn't play well in live action.
And that's the other aspect of this. Not everything that happens in the comic books translates well on film. So that's that factor as well. So, but again, when you're when you're looking at a film, right? You're looking at a film. A movie, unfortunately, it's and it's a hard job, right? I say this understanding this is hard to do because a movie technically encapsulates, depending like what they plan on doing, like with that movie or like with that character or franchise for that matter. So, but that one movie it's supposed to either encapsulate an entire like catalog of a book, you know what I'm saying, or a comic series, or it encapsulates at least a good portion of that story, right? Like when you're looking at something like Dune, right? Dune 1. That movie is trying to fit in so much out of one book type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you're looking at these comic book movies, same thing. Like a movie of a comic book movie is giving you an entire technically like series of sorts, right? Like in one shooting, right? In one film. So again, to try, you're trying to so when the character, like let's just say like when this character, let's just say Superman or Krypto or whatever, are acting out of place, because that's, if we're gonna be honest, they are. You can't say, oh, well, in this comic book they did that. Yeah, but in that comic book, it's one run that exists within a plenitude of other source material. You know,
when you say that, I want to get your thought because with several clips out there, and so this is one with Superman.
Where's the dog?
Like, how does it? You should. But it's like because and I want to placate this real quick because before I know people be like, oh, sylabdul, this is what he's doing. But because there's cool scenes out there. Right? some good transitions, heat vision, stuff like that. I'm like, hey, again, this is what I thought last year. Last summer, I was covering this behind the scenes.
Right.
I got some good intel, and I was like, oh, he's going to have a lot of action into this. But he's going to undercut it the entire time. Yeah. So the characterization of these characters, you are, we're talking about generational things.
Right.
Most of the audience that grew up with Superman comic books, we don't see this as Superman.
Yeah,
we don't see that as Superman. I'm just gonna be clear again. My iconic Superman comic books was Death of Superman, Return of Superman, Death and Return of Superman.
Yeah.
And then other one-shot things, but I didn't really buy into Superman until Zack Snyder did Man of Steel.
100%.
Right? 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Then I was like, oh, this is like a more personable Superman. Now, Gunn is trying to attempt to do this with his new one, and we'll see. But we have an idea of the character that we see Superman as.
Yeah.
So when you kind of go against that, you got to expect some pushback, right? And I'm saying this more for people that's going to be in my comic section. You got to realize there are different generational people that we don't see Superman as this overall. So I guess what's your thoughts with that? Is just that Gunn, he's given us a different Superman. This isn't Henry Cavill style. This is even Donner style.
Right.
What Gunn's doing right now. What's your take on that?
No, that you got it right, dude. That's the it's funny because and this goes back to you're probably showing us too much, in a sense, right? If you were trying to get the max amount of viewers as possible, your best bet was to show less than what you're showing right now, because maybe I would have been fooled into thinking that maybe there isn't a maybe he is gonna treat these characters the way I want to see them, and maybe I would have gone to see the movie and then I would have came out like, what the fuck.
No, true, because man, that first trailer, and I've been on record, that was this past December, right? So it's 8 months ago, 8 months ago, where they showed that first trailer. And, he had him, bloodied up and, calling for Crypto. It's like, okay, Crypto's a little goofy. He's like, okay. And we'll see what this film. I thought it was the perfect trailer last December. I was like, y'all can't, even people that was, fighting against the film. And I know y'all, there's people out there that's they wanted to fail. That first trailer hit. That first trailer,
it did numbers. It had the viewership that it needed to promote the, it did the numbers. You just can't deny
presented the film.
It presented the film,
and they showed so much after.
And even then, that probably was the most I needed to see about Crypto. You know what I'm saying? and then again, because you would have fooled me. You would have fooled me to thinking, he shows up to just rescue Superman. Because that's all you see, right? Whistle, and then you see Crypto come and drag him. And it
that was a good trailer. I'll be honest on
that. All that to say, and here's the thing, if I'm being honest, it's I was still kind of damn, that's kind of crazy that Superman got beat that bad. But you know what I'm saying, that he needs to get dragged by his dog, But again, it's maybe there's a reason. You know what I'm saying? At least I can still speculate.
There's a story there.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can still, you know what I'm saying? The moment you gave me that sneak peek, revealing what it actually what's happening. And you did too much. You know what I'm saying? And you showed me exactly, I guess, what I wanted to know in a sense. And again, at a personal level, thank you for showing me that I was right to be concerned about you.
This is the film we're getting.
You know what I'm saying? And this is the film we're getting. But all that to say that at least with that first trailer, it was again, still obscure. You know what I'm saying? It was still obscure, still not much to know. And I think you need to kind of still have that obscurity. You know what I'm saying? Because look, in the end of the day, you're still putting out a big IP, right?
Yeah.
I don't like I said last time, I don't think Superman is as big as Batman, obviously, and I don't think Superman is as big as he was before in that I would say that Man of Steel era. You know what I'm saying? Because that really elevated Superman to a level where people were actually talking about him. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't explain it. You know what I'm saying? Where Batman dominated the conversation because of the Dark Knight trilogy. All of a sudden, now because of Man of Steel and BVS, Superman's in the conversation. You know.
Let me ask you this, because since then, Man of Steel, what 2013?
2013,
right?
Yeah.
Batman is Batman. Again, we said before our time, even 89 Batman, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just he's the biggest character Warner Brothers has. Period. Right. Batman biggest. Since then, Man of Steel 2013, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, right? Was it 2017?
2017.
I think right now, you get a good actress. Like if you want to reboot, okay, fine. Yeah, I mean Gal Gadot was perfect. Obviously we would have loved her trilogy.
Oh yeah.
I know part 2 wasn't good, but if we had a proper
could you at least have given her a proper exit? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you deserve that, a trilogy, right? Because you did great on the first one.
She did great in the first one. She did great in BVS. She did great in Zack Snyder's Justice League. The least she could have done was
she should have got that bookend.
Yeah, that's sad.
Right? And again, Wonder Woman 84 is what it is.
Yeah.
I still love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Give her a third film. Even if you was going to reboot Wonder Woman, because I think in 2017,
I have an idea there, but go ahead.
2017 that elevated Wonder Woman
100%
because she headlined the film, 800 plus million in the box office for that film.
Yeah,
you have a franchise that just like with Aquaman, they threw it away.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I still people saying talking about this enough. You had Jason Momoa as Aquaman. You could have did 8 films with him as Aquaman. You would have made profit every single time because Jason Momoa is Aquaman. Right. That's why Gunn can't do an Aquaman film now. Because they remember Jason Momoa. I want to get to the point I'm getting, but with Momoa, with Aquaman 2, it's still edged to a profit with no marketing.
Right.
No marketing at all. It's still broke even. Because Jason Momoa, Aquaman was a franchise.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman is a franchise.
Yeah.
Right? So I hate that they rebooted it unevenly like that. But anyway, but even if now you do a new Wonder Woman film, even before this James Gunn Superman film, I think Wonder Woman would do numbers. Do you think Wonder Woman, and this is just your personal take, is a more healthy franchise than Superman?
It is because the reason being because it was somewhat of a fresh take, somewhat, right? Like in the sense that, like, obviously, there's other Wonder Woman material, right? And then you can go back to the TV show and all that, but that's irrelevant, really, right? After like I always said, like what made Man of Steel and the Superman in that moment, why the reason that kind of like was it was just great timing was because the last real like Superman, movie type thing to hit, and then like I guess you could say a franchise, whatever, was the Christopher Reeve stuff, right? And then this large period, and I just don't even want to mention Superman Returns because it's like that was what it was.
Smallville TV was bigger than Superman Returns.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. But all that to say that when Man of Steel came out, the reason I believe it was so well received is because because there was nothing for the general audience to look to judge it by one, and even like if you were like a comic book fan or a Superman fan, like again, there was nothing for you to like really like, unless you were like a Smallville fan, because that was really it. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than that, we like, or if you were like an animated series fan and all that, which what played well for me because since I was an animated series fan, then even seeing Man of Steel kind of like felt right, But all that to say that when it comes to Wonder Woman, we got that in 2017. Like, what else is there about Wonder Woman that we can be like, oh yeah, but there's still this. We can always go back, whatever. Like there's still this thing that we can that's more beloved. Like no, 2017 is the beloved version of Wonder Woman.
To be fair, with Wonder Woman, just IP overall is Linda Carter, right? Yeah. That begins there with everyone.
Right.
I don't care who you are out there. You knew Linda Carter before you read a comic book.
Yeah.
That's how big that was on TV.
Yep.
And to be fair, that's what Batman was on TV before all of our
100%.
times.
And yeah, so I'm glad
On
you're saying this
TV,
because I don't want to make it seem like I was dogging that. I'm not. I'm just stating
No, it
that.
was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just stating that as far as big screen is concerned, the big screen,
Yeah.
it's 2017
that was it. Yeah.
That was
yeah.
it. That's the version everybody knows now. You know what I'm saying? Like that's you know what I'm saying?
To be
Like
fair, right?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I mean,
No, go ahead.
but
Yeah.
to be fair, because like there's a difference. Like there's
Mhm.
comic book fans, and then there are live action fans
100%.
where they didn't really introduce the Batman until Tim Burton, 89.
100%.
You see what I'm saying?
I said that
so with Wonder Woman, it began in 2017 for a lot of people.
For a lot of people,
Yeah,
that's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like there is that fan base that okay, maybe it wasn't you that I talked about. Maybe I think it was Millennial, but that was a point I made. No, I think it was with you too. That's a point I always make. Is like we have to understand that there are different audiences for these IPs. Not all audiences that watch the live screen knows anything about comics. They don't know anything about TV series, but all their introduction to these characters is the big screen, and that's good too. That's fine. That's actually but all that to say that for a majority right now, it was that 2017 Wonder Woman.
It's Gal Gadot Wonder Woman.
It's Gal Gadot. You know what I'm saying? And that's why like as bad as 1984 was. It was still beloved by those that actually still like Wonder Woman. Like they love Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Like, I was getting pushed back then.
I've been saying this lately, and people they probably pulling their hair out when I say this, but if it wasn't locked down with COVID at that time, and Wonder Woman 84 had a proper rollout,
no,
it would have made money.
No,
it would have made money.
No, see, you're right. You're right there. See, like, that's not. I don't know anybody who's giving you pushback on that, or like they're just you're being foolish.
That's a big IP still, even if you didn't like that film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I remember we were watching. Because like you're right, it was COVID, and I remember we were all in Florida, my family at the time, and we all watched it as a family, you know what I'm saying? And I had like sisters there that were excited for it, you know what I'm saying? And then even after the movie, they were like in love with it, you know what I'm saying? Like
they still watch it. Yeah.
And I was there like, you know what?
I was
I'm gonna just let y'all enjoy this moment. You know what I'm
saying? I didn't you know at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I didn't like I got some critiques.
yeah, exactly. You know? But all that to say that there for sure was an audience even for that film, you know what I'm saying? And it would have probably not made the same amount it made the first time around, but it was still seen some good numbers.
I think it would have been profitable.
It would have still been profitable, 100%. You know, so yeah, that's a true
because
statement.
of the IP. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I think you're making the same point. Is that Wonder Woman IP is a very healthy IP still. Right? And with Superman, you had Zack Snyder, Henry Cavill coming out after again Superman Returns, trying to repair, and then you had the BVS experience where, again, I try to be fair with this. Again, BVS is my favorite CBM film, ever. Right. The third act is insane. What happens to the third act of BVS? Batman vs Superman, the warehouse scene versus Doomsday. Wonder Woman entrance, like all that stuff. Death of Superman. Crazy third act of BVS for my like CBM line, right? 100%. But I understand there's certain audiences that didn't, they didn't vibe with that, right? They didn't vibe with that.
That could be true and all, right? Like I know that does exist, but to me, I think it's a minority still because it's like that movie was so profitable and like, so much money. It's hard to believe that there was a majority of people that actually disliked it. You know what I mean? Like
that's fair. Majority.
It doesn't add up
because the money was there.
The money was there. Like I mean, it made first off, it made a hella money in the box office. It made hella money with the merchandise. You know what I mean? Like
digital releases
and all that,
Blu-rays, all that stuff.
And you're trying to tell me that there was a majority of people that dislike, or that it's even? No, it's not even. It's not even. There was no majority. It's not even. I think there's just a minority of people that just didn't like it, and you're just being very loud about it. You know what I mean?
It was particular minority people that had a problem with it, right?
Yeah,
That's
particular.
what that is.
And it's funny too, though, because some of these same people that I saw, like that I know that like complained about that film, somehow have nothing to say about this new Superman film that kind of has the same issue brought up about BVS that you're not apparently bringing up now.
The last take I want to throw to you as we at our last thing we'll kind of talk about here is that there's a new, I just did a stream about in real time of a leaked review, right? The Daily Beast put out a review of James Gunn Superman before the embargo, so they're probably going to lose some Warner Brothers lunches and dinners, lunch plans they got out there. Like, hey, just like I said, I'm independent. I don't get nothing from Warner Brothers. I don't get their
just get flags whenever you promote your stuff.
But it's like Daily Beast, y'all about to lose some lunch meals with that. But they put out there one of the reasons, and it's different things. Like you don't like the goofy stuff. I just played the Mr. Terrific scene. Right. It was like there's a lot of that in the film. Yeah. I heard that probably every 15 minutes you're gonna have a Gunnism right in this film. One thing they said, and they tried to put this on Zack Snyder in a weird way. They said, "Oh, it's convoluted, like what Zack and Joss Whedon did." Like, hold up on that. And I don't even want you to comment on that. I'm gonna put that aside. I don't like how they said it like that. But they're saying BVS was convoluted. Now they're saying James Gunn Superman. Because in BVS, we had Batman vs. Superman. Wonder Woman didn't really break out until the third act.
Yeah.
And then you had the quick, even before that, you had the quick shots of Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, setting up, Dawn of the Justice League. That's the film. So they're saying somehow they're saying equally in James Gunn Superman. And again, this is just one review, but they're saying the Justice Gang, Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific, is somehow the same what Zach did with BVS, which I call BS on that one. But they're saying this film is convoluted. I guess what's your take on that? Is that because me and you, the last video me and you did was like he's gonna out Snyder, right? Doing more characters just like Zach did. Right. Zach did less. Still got hated on. Yeah. Gunn's doing more characters. What's your take on that? Just the take of these journalists, they're trying to put it on the same level.
That don't make sense. If I was to like try to understand what they're saying, and this is me trying because I'm like, because you're right, like BVS doesn't really do that much with all these other they just it's like slight inserts, and then with Diana and
just it was a pivotal point. It fit the story when Diana came in.
And then it's not to that moment that Wonder Woman finally, reveals herself. But unless they're conflating the Justice League that came out in
2017,
unless they're like conflating that, like and making it seem like Beck and Joss Whedon work together on that film. That's the only thing that makes sense there, I guess. Where because like I know that was they tried to like.
They tried to push that.
They tried to and then they and then as well as like how they tried to make it an issue in BVS, like these other characters, and then I remember in the 2017 Justice League, it was like like this, it was so because now you're actually getting all these characters, but like you don't really the story was moving fast, and there was like you're really not, which again I get that, like so it's the only thing that makes sense to me. And I even stated that maybe this was with my conversation with Millennial Mike, and it was that I was all like, and I said this would probably be more close to Justice League, in that sense, and then I said, and I just hope people are honest, if since they hated Justice League for that reason, that it was like, they're giving us Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash without giving us these others, like without really properly rolling them out with their own movies and then bringing them together. And it's like, I just hope y'all have that same fire.
Same energy. Keep that same energy.
For this, apparently that's what you're
According
getting
to people
here.
that's seen James Gunn Superman, they're saying Gunn is introducing, setting up future stuff in this film, just like y'all were mad that Zack Snyder did it. So keep that same energy. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like y'all making a thing about it then. I hope you guys make a thing about it now. I mean,
I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying? Hey. And look, here's the thing. Like, I get it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I can get that could be a critique of a sort. But at the same time, I personally never thought that was a valid point to make, because in my mind, I'm like, there's plenty of stories and movies out there that introduce I guess like a group of characters, that you have no backstory to. You don't, I mean, Star Wars is that, you know what I'm saying? Like you got a bunch of characters that, like I'm talking about the first episode 4, like you were introduced to a bunch of characters all at once.
Yeah, that's true.
That you have no backstory to, and it wasn't until you get the prequels that you finally get the backstory. You know what I'm saying? So so that's not necessarily necessary. Same thing with Lord of the Rings. You got, all these characters. And granted, like, maybe, I guess what I'll say is this, is like, maybe if there's not enough time to give a proper story for all these characters, then I can see why you're complaining, right? Because that makes sense. Like, I can get that, right? Like, Lord of the Rings is a long movie for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot you're introducing, and all these characters, you kind of want to, some of them do need that, like, kind of like moments that give some kind of history, and so it gives depth to the character and things like that. Especially since they're crucial to the story. So like, maybe if that's what's happening here, like, these characters are so interwoven into the story and they're crucial to the story, but like, you don't know where they come from or who they are, and like, there's not enough depth to them, then I could get the point. Like, okay, like, all right, I get the critique. But yeah, again, it's like, it's hard to say, like, until we actually see the movie, really, like, if any of that is true or not, I you know what I'm saying. But
that's early. There's early critique with that.
Yeah, that's as early as I can get to understanding. It's like, maybe they're comparing it to Justice League. And again, I didn't really have an issue with all those characters being introduced the way they were in that movie, but can we say that obviously Zack Snyder's Justice League does a better job of rolling those characters out with proper story? 100%. You know what I'm saying? And that's
man.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's the amazing thing out of all this discourse, as we're gonna kind of round this out, as all the discourse of Zack Snyder's DC run, you could say what you want, that you didn't like certain decisions in Man of Steel or even BVS. No one is complaining about the Snyder Cut.
Right.
Like, when it come out 2021, the last 4 years, I haven't heard, I'm saying, a single person say, "Oh man, Snyder Cut, I wish they didn't did they introduce Aquaman properly, or the Flash properly, or Cyborg properly?" No, you had different chapters for every single character. Now, the only critique, I'll be fair.
Yeah,
critique is not enough Superman. But that was part of the story.
That's part of the story.
That was literally part of the story. So I'm gonna give people that, though. I'm gonna give you that out there. But overall, the Justice League story of Snyder Cut, this is Zack Snyder's Justice League. This wasn't Superman 3. This wasn't Man of Steel 3, whatever. It was Zack Snyder's Justice League, and he literally rolled out the story for all the characters. Right? It was a proper conclusion, a proper continuation of the Wonder Woman story. That Patty Jenkins set up. It was a proper, continuation of a Batfleck, introducing Aquaman, Cyborg, Flash in different chapters, and making it a part. It's one of the, again, BVS is my favorite CBM ever. But I mean, Snyder Cut's right up there. Like, Zack Snyder Justice League is right up there.
Yeah, it's right up there. I mean, it's really a pleasure to watch that trilogy back to back. Like, it's really satisfying to, like, watch Man of Steel, then BVS, then Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it just feels right. But all that to say that, yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Nobody's saying anything, and which is just funny, because it's like, it just goes to show that you y'all just have nothing good to say that even in this film that you guys have no issue with clearly. And must mean that he did something right, but you guys won't even acknowledge that. Like, you guys can't even take the time to actually acknowledge, like, yo, that Justice League movie was on point. You know what I'm saying?
That was,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
nothing.
but no, you ain't saying nothing now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that energy, it's not there now. You know what I'm saying? Like, which just goes to show how people have their biases and stuff, and their own, I guess, motives when it comes to these things. It's a funny thing, but if we're gonna just circle back, I guess, to the issue at hand with Superman, I guess, it's, I'll say this, like, to I guess recover. It's like, I would say marketing, when they clearly made the adjustment they needed to, but then just like BVS, y'all doing too much. Y'all doing too much. You guys are releasing too much. Y'all really needed it. I mean, well, now it's kind of too late. I think y'all just already did too much. I don't think you can even remedy that, right? It is what it is, right? So y'all did too much, and it just show. I think, to me, that just shows you guys are. Unfortunately, I feel shows that you guys are just too scared. Like, you know what I'm saying? And maybe rightfully so. Maybe rightfully so. You know,
this has to hit. Like, let's be fair with this as we kind of wind this down. Let's be clear about this. This Superman film, again, a year ago, I would say they would be happy with like a 500 million, not too much marketing.
Right.
Now they fired their marketing team. Right. That's why I always say on my channel, like, I try to be informative, objective, but I'm dynamic as well. Like, things change. Like, things change in these stories.
Yeah.
Then when they fired the marketing team, they put more money into marketing. Now it has to make more money now.
Yes.
Right. So it's no like, oh, let's kind of skate by with a low budget Superman film. No, you better get 700-800 million to $1 billion.
I think that's what I think that's what they're really hoping for. I think that's clearly what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
As just seeing how hard they're marketing, right? Like, it's really, they really pushed hard this film, like really hard. Like, it was, I mean, you're seeing it everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And like, on a personal level, do I feel like like do I feel like you're doing too, I think you're doing too much, but at the same time, I'm thinking like, I'm not even I'm not really sure this movie deserves this. I kind of feel personally. That's on a personal level, because I'm like, what upsets me about that, low key, is that you guys could have pushed that last Aquaman movie hard, like, and I actually did some real marketing for it. You guys would have done really great with that. You guys going, but you guys could have gave Wonder Woman her third movie, pushed it, and it would have done. You guys would have seen numbers. It
would have did great.
It would have been great.
Gal Gadot Wonder Woman 3 would have made a profit.
And so it's like, it really bothers me that you guys all of a sudden, and again, it's like, I know, I get it. Like, I don't get me wrong, I get it. But it does bother me, right? Like, and that's, like I said, that's on a personal level. Like, man, like, you guys, like, the moment the moment, and this is what high person feel. The moment you guys finally found your Marvelization of DC, this is when you want to, like, market your brand hard. The moment you guys turn a Superman film into a Marvel film, that's now when you guys are, like, now marketing this super hard and you're pushing it. But again, that's my personal take. Personally, in my opinion, I would say this, and I'll end on this, and I'll throw this your way. Tell me what you think. I guess is that, obviously, this film, I think, has to do good now. It has to, because of, like you said, the amount of money that they put into it needs to do better numbers than first anticipated. I'm not sure it's going to see it, personally, in my opinion, but that's just me. You know what I'm saying? This is me, just kind of like my own my personal, I guess, biased opinion, but then two, even just looking at the reviews of it, it's not an overwhelming, like, huzzah for it. It's a mixed bag of reviews. So that's like, well, that's not a good sign to tell me that this movie's gonna be so anticipated that everybody's gonna go watch it. But if there's any, I'm gonna throw this in your way and tell me what you think. I feel like if this doesn't do well, I think Gunn, I hope has the, I don't know, and not just Gunn, I guess Peter's Africa, but this is something I was thinking about, and I think if this doesn't do well, y'all really should reconsider what you guys are gonna do here. One and two, um, maybe really consider doing that Elseworld stories with Zach. Let him finish his story, and then I think you should consider doing what Walter Hamada failed to do, and that's, and correct me if I'm wrong in this, but this is, this kind of just what my brain was thinking the other day, and that's that they had every intentions of creating a multiverse that was going to be visible from the TV to the screen, right? And it
Crisis event.
Yeah, the crisis event, and it gave us all this idea, like a sense of an idea of like, yo, are they about to like really possibly merge all these films? You know what I'm saying? And you kind of got in the Flash film, right? But I'm thinking like, if you really want to run a remedy this, and you would guys, I think if they properly do this, you guys then can claim you guys are the first to do this, in the sense that, well, not the first to do this with, I guess, a majority of characters, I guess, because Spider-Man did this already, and that's that more than one Spider-Man at once. But if you guys do that with Superman, right, where Henry Cavill Superman meeting David, your James Gunn version of Superman, and maybe if you want, I guess, throw, I don't know, someone other Superman, you do that, you know what I'm saying, and then you do that with the Batman, you do it, whatever, like any character that I guess can have more than, like the doppelganger effect, whatever. Maybe consider doing that on the big screen, and that might just save you this universe you're trying to create.
So this is how Warner Brothers fails, like in our immediate lifetime, because they were planning it, like you said, with Hamada doing a crisis event to have Cavill Superman, and they wanted to do another Super. They wanted Corn Sweat, a few years ago. Right, that's a true story out there. Right when they started doing the Pattinson Batman, they were trying to get Corn Sweat back then to replace Cavill. Right. So we're talking about 2017, 18. They was trying to replace Cavill at that point. But the crazy thing with this is that DC did the multiverse before Marvel. I know people think of Spider-Man No Way Home end of 2021, right? They did the whole multiverse thing.
Right.
CW did Crisis on Infinite Earth on TV before.
Yeah. That
gave Hamada the idea to do the Flash film, like he put Ezra Miller on CW.
On CW. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying, if you just actually execute that on the big screen, that might save the universe that you're trying to create. If this doesn't do well, again, we have yet to see.
Right.
I don't know what it's gonna do. I'm not too confident in it. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it does do good. But personally, I don't know. I don't really know anymore, because it's like, let's put it like this: they're marketing good. Like they are good in the sense of like, you guys.
They stepped up the marketing.
You stepped up the marketing, so like it's clearly out there now. Like
they spent the money. They
spent the money, so it's like, all right, that should help you. That should help you, and I think that will help them. Now it's just, is this movie good enough where people are going to come out of the theater and actually spread the word of mouth for you? And because if it's not, then it's not going to do well.
Let's take the dark timeline with that, right? Let's say Superman, isn't up, because again, 500 million ain't gonna do it. You need to come out. We talked about Jurassic World earlier today. You got to come out better
than that,
than what they're doing, right? And you got to make a splash. We're talking about next week, right? People going to see this before the film comes out, and so it's like you better hit this week on Superman. Now let's say it doesn't. Then you're talking about James Gunn. He's praying that Supergirl picks up the slack, because likely Corn Sweat will make an appearance in there. You got Jason Momoa and things like that. So he has a caveat. Now, again, like, is that fair, or however you want to put it with that, is that he has a little cushion. But if Superman fails, then man, like you think Supergirl's gonna do better than Superman at this point? So now if Superman does good, I think actually Supergirl can take it to another level.
Right.
But if this falls on his face, then this is gonna be a very nervous time between now and next summer.
Right.
With Supergirl. So that's just my take on that. What do you think, as we got probably 10 more minutes here? What if again we take that timeline, Superman doesn't perform up to the marketing?
Yeah.
Because I think the first thing to say, I mean, we could say what we think it's gonna do, what we don't want it to do, but they put close to $200 million in marketing. Like this PBS level that they're putting money as far as spending.
Right.
We haven't seen this since 2016.
Exactly.
It hasn't happened for The Flash. It hasn't happened for Aquaman 2. It hasn't happened for all these films up until it even happened for Aquaman 1. They didn't spend this money for Aquaman 1 or Wonder Woman.
Yep.
BVS was the film. Yeah. So if this doesn't make that return, is that because again, Gunn's gonna get to next summer? So I guess what does that look like to you if Superman falls on his face? And we're talking about it doesn't have the opening it's supposed to have, maybe not even the audience. Because again, critics is gonna do what you're gonna have mixed critics. If this doesn't land, Vega, what does that look like for DC, for Superman?
It's a bad look
for next year.
It's a bad look. And I think it's going to be bad. Even it'll have some ramifications even for Supergirl film. I think it'll still. I think Supergirl will still do better, but it will have ramifications for that because this is you introducing DC, this new brand, the rebranding you're trying to do, like the rebooting you're trying to do. You're trying to do something new, and however this lands is going to determine whether people are going to be actually interested now in this this new franchise you're trying to put. There's not any franchise, but universe,
new world, new cinematic universe.
Universe. So if this lands flat on its face, it's going to be bad for DC live screen experience. DC obviously will always have its comic book, runs. I think they do well with video games and things of that nature. I don't know how. Obviously we don't work at in for them, so we don't know how the delegation of finances works, right? Like, is it the big bags that come from the movies that fund everything else, or I don't know how that works really. But if this doesn't land well, all I know is that's we might be looking at the death of DC live films. With the exception maybe of Batman coming back to save the day,
And I'm gonna go further with you on this as we close this out. I'm gonna go further. I'm gonna say if Superman doesn't do what it's supposed to do, I don't think we see DCU Batman. I think you say, okay, Matt Reeves, come save us, Matt Reeves, do your trilogy, and Gunn may do like some streaming DC or something like that. Like you can still get Supergirl, low budget Clayface, but it stops right there for a reason because they want to wait and see what this Superman film does.
Right.
And I don't think you get the new Batman if Superman does in a weird way. I just don't think you get that new Batman. Like you get Reeves. I think Reeves is like that backup plan the whole time where we know people are going to show up. And again, I wasn't the biggest fan of his Batman in real time. I like his crime saga. I like what he did with Penguin overall. But in retrospect, I was like, okay, he had a good crime saga story, but it's an audience there. That's my point I'm trying to make with it. There's an audience for Reeves Batman.
No,
so if Superman doesn't do well or up to snuff, again, to the money, and this one I want to make clear to people out there, it's like, it's not about, again, if it makes us profit back, if it makes it, no. They are spending BVS level money on this Superman film. It has to return. I'm talking about $700 million plus, right? And that may not be enough for people, but I'm just saying if it gets to, and when we say 700, we're saying as much as Man of Steel and threatening BVS numbers. So that's what it needs to do. Good. That's what it needs to do. And so overall, I'll kind of monologue this for a second. The money they're putting in James Gunn Superman, rivaling 2016 BVS, people will say they spent $200 million on BVS. That remains to be, proven, but it's just people throw numbers out there. But I would say whatever they spent on 2016 BVS, they're spending the same now. I'm seeing, as Vega said, we're seeing Superman everywhere. We're seeing the merch. We're seeing the push globally for this film. Specialized China commercials and Paris, Italy, something like they're going all out for this film. What does that mean? It needs to see a return. So you got to have a great opening. Like it's no excuse. It's no excuse for this film at all. You got to have a great opening. I think the critics will give you a good enough score. Not perfect, because I'm hearing other journalists and critics, they're gonna have some critiques. They're gonna play devil's advocate. So Superman's not gonna have a perfect critic score. Audience, again, that's the qualifier. We don't know. We got to see when the audience sees it. Then we'll know the audience score, like any other film. But it needs to have, hold that critic score. Good audience score, meaning A or more, A minus or over for a cinema score. A B plus or a B will not cut it for a James Gunn Superman film. It needs to be an A cinema score, A minus or above for it. I think the critics will be there for Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes audience score needs to be 80, mid 80s or over, meaning it can't be under mid 80s, right? So I say that in that way because people, they thought with Jurassic World Rebirth, I said a B plus is the lowest you want for a cinema score. Jurassic World Rebirth had a B. A B is under a B plus. And again, I'm not trying to stupefy this, but I'm just saying you understand the difference. B plus is not equal to B, right? So Superman needs to have A minus or above. A B plus would not be good enough for the money you want to make. If you get a B plus, you try to scratch out what you can, and we'll see what the headlines say. So, and again, this is after multiple years of looking at box office and how money is made. Superman needs that critical and audience boost. That's what it needs to do. So we'll see what that looks like. Again, we're about 72 hours or so away from people going to see this film in real time. I'm going to see it Tuesday, July 8th. So I'm 3 days away from that. And I'm going to give my immediate reaction that evening. I'm going to go live on this channel July 8th evening. And we're going to see, is it too silly? Was it too many Gunnisms? We're going to find out when this film comes out. It's going to be a non-spoiler reaction Tuesday evening, July 8th on this film. Then I will do a mild spoiler next Friday for Superman, because I'm going to see it Tuesday and Thursday. So, I didn't get the meals with it, but I got a couple screenings. So, so we will see. But the main thing, and we got a few more minutes here. The main thing I was just saying, Vega, is that, and we said this before then, is that the money they're putting into this marketing, you got to have that return. And it's no, people think I'm hard on Jurassic World Rebirth, but and let me say this, and then I'll give you the last word because we're going to close this out. But Jurassic World Rebirth, it opened up on a Wednesday, and I always say it's about winning the headlines. I'm into marketing, so I know how I will market this film. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to tell you what it's doing just in the States. I'm going to give you the global number.
Right.
And that's what they're doing, right? Like globally, 300 million plus, that sounds good, right? What? And I'm not trying to insult people's intelligence, but would you rather hear 80 million or 300 million?
Right,
I
exactly.
think we'll pick 300.
I think
We'll
we'll
pick 300 million, right? Because 80 million is what it's going to do Friday to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real weekend.
Right.
And it has a bad cinema score, meaning it's going to have a 60% plus drop next week. So it's going to
Right.
make 30 next weekend against Superman.
Right.
So I'm not going to market that. No. 300 billion. So the same pressure I'm putting on any film in Jurassic World overall, I'm gonna put this same lens on Superman next week. You better come out swinging.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what would that look like to you, Vega? Superman comes out and it's a sense that it's underperforming. Like, I mean, it's open season, right?
It's open season, bro. It's open season, dude. Like, here's the thing. Like, it's just, oh man, bro. If that movie doesn't perform, bro, look, it's over, bro. It is over. You know what I'm saying? Put him up against the wall. You know what I'm saying? It's over, bro. Like, execution style, like that. If it doesn't do, you know what? Because you're right. You're right. I think you're right when you're saying that if this doesn't do well, that might be the death of Batman Live as well on the big screen. You know, it just might be because again, they for sure put all their eggs in this basket. They for sure did. That bag that
money is telling you that, right? Because it's different if they didn't put this marketing.
Exactly. It's about how much money they actually put up for this marketing. That's telling me everything that I need to know. And that's that. Yeah, they put all their eggs in this basket. And the sad part about it is, I don't know if it's gonna do well. You know, like it's different when they did it for BVS because that was like a given. Like, that was just a given. You know, and it's not even just because it was Zack Snyder. It's because it's, you know, I mean, that was a factor. It was Zack Snyder. It was Batman introducing, being introduced to in that Superman world, which was like, again, like, oh, Batman, you know, so again, with Superman, and then the concept, wait, Batman and Superman fighting each other? What? You know, saying like
another angle. You had Ben Affleck,
and then you had Ben Affleck. Yes,
he's still a big name. But I'm just saying, in 2016, he was huge.
Yeah, 100%. So that movie had so much going for it, so it made sense that they put all that money towards the marketing there. It just made sense. It made sense. That wasn't hard to understand. With this film, though, it kind of
Batman. You
got no Batman. You know,
no big star.
No big star. You're just.
I love Nicholas Hoult, but he's not a big star.
He's not. Yeah. He's just not. He's not.
He's not.
Let's keep it a buck. He's not. He's not there yet. He's not there yet. He'll probably eventually get there, but he's not there yet.
He could be a part of a good cast. He's a good performer, but he's not drawing you to tickets, you know, people buying tickets.
No, not at all.
Ben Affleck was that.
Yes.
And he's still that. He's actually still Ben Affleck handlines anything. Oh, I'm gonna see this Ben Affleck film.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. No one's saying that about Nicholas Hoult. Just be clear about it.
Just to be clear.
just to be real about that, right?
Yeah, no, that's 100%. So when I see all this money being poured into this film for the marketing, I'm concerned because it's like, we already know you guys don't got that bag like that anymore. Which is why, you know what I'm saying, every movie's kind of been subpar for a minute now. As far as your comic book movies that you're putting out there. You guys are very fiscal with what you're deciding to like put money into. And now you're doing it all for this film.
I'm surprised that they're because this wasn't supposed to happen, y'all.
Yeah,
like a year ago,
right?
This is a more recent decision to pour this money. So I mean, we got to be critical about that.
We got to be critical because it's like they for sure pivoted in that regard. And now it's like, okay, again, I'm not so sure you guys are going to like what happens after, because again, it's like you don't have the same things going for you this time around, same way you guys did with BVS. That's just a fact. And and like I told you last time, Superman's a great character, but he's not Batman. He's just not Batman. I don't expect there to be that kind of odd. I'm excited to see Superman. Like I don't. It's not like again. comic book fans for sure will probably feel that way, and maybe like again, like I said last time, I think James Gunn fans are gonna go obviously go watch this movie. But general audiences, I'm not so sure they're up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, the marketing boost that they did is gonna help with that now. It's gonna help with the general audience now. So I'll give credit there where it's due. I'm just not sure it's still enough because it's
that's fair.
You know, I'm just not sure it's enough. Again, I know they're trying to prompt. And here's the funny part: they're marketing. They went hard in marketing both the Superman movie as well as James Gunn as the director, which was a weird angle here because they didn't even do that with Zack Snyder with BVS. You know what I mean? Like that, or you know, in any of his films, to be honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? If we're gonna be honest, that was matter of fact, I actually don't know any movie right now that has had this much of a marketing push behind promoting the director as much as they promoting the movie. You know, like, because if the director is that good, you really don't need that.
That's true.
You know, a Nolan film is a Nolan film, and you don't, you know what I'm saying? He's not promoted. It's just you know it's a Nolan film, and then that's that. You know what I'm saying? And same thing with Zack Snyder. It's like, you know, so it's a weird angle there where they're like really promoting James Gunn here. But that also, I think, is the telling. To me, that's telling. Like, to me, that's telling me you guys aren't actually that confident in this film, and I think you guys are revealing the honesty in the fact that, is James Gunn really a renowned director of that level, of that caliber? You know,
that's interesting.
Like, what other films do we really know him to be great other than the Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, that's what people know him for. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than that, I'll wait. I'll wait for
like Nolan. Because when we say Nolan, we're talking about obviously Batman trilogy, but then we're talking about Inception.
Yep.
We're talking about Interstellar. We're talking about, you know, Tenet. I know those during COVID, people forgot Tenet happened.
Yep.
But that was a great film. That's my first film I went to during COVID, during the lockdowns. I went to see Tenet. You know, because it's a Nolan film. Yeah. Right. You know, if you know, Memento is probably his best film ever. I love Memento. Throw that out there. Like,
hell yeah.
If y'all know about that, telling a film backwards. Come on now. Like, come on, Nolan, he's been legendary for years, right?
You know,
a decade at this point.
Decades.
But is Gunn that right? Because you raise a good point with that.
You know, because like at best you always only see like, oh, the same director that brought you. But they can't even do that with this guy, is my whole point. All you have is
Guardians.
That's all you, that's what I'm saying, but that's all you really have, right? So, and that's what they'll say. Yeah, that's what it says, right? But like, again,
part of that though, because you raise a good point with that. Like, if I'm marketing this film, that's what I'm saying though. I'm saying,
no, exactly. I understand it. I'm not even knocking it. It's understandable.
Like you said, it like with Nolan, it's different. It's a different gravitas with
but there's a catalog. You know what I'm saying?
Even Zach.
That's what I'm saying. Even Zach. You'll see. It'll always say Zack Snyder, the director that brought you 300, brought you Man of Steel. You know what I'm saying? Like, brought you like. There's a catalog that this director is identified.
That's fair.
That, and then that's all you get. After that, they don't talk about the director anymore. It's all about the film. But with this movie, it was like the director that brought you the Guardians. That's it. and then this is a James Gunn film. This is a James Gunn film. James Gunn is
no, that, and I tell you, because I know people, there's gonna be a certain segment they're gonna be upset about that take. But it's like, but it makes
I had to at least do something. You know what I'm saying?
Gunn is not there. You're talking about Nolan, even Denny V from the Doom. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will go with his films. And didn't he do Blade Runner? Yeah, so
2049, whatever.
Yeah, so it's like Gunn. And again, from my marketing brain, yes, I'm gonna sell the heck out of James Gunn. Grandmas know Guardians. They do. I've been to Comic-Con. There were grandmas at Comic-Con. They knew Guardians, right? So it's like you use that, but Gunn is like, is his reach enough? We're gonna find out, right?
We're gonna find out.
I will say, let's take it on this because we did the doomsday side of this. Let's say if this film succeeds, I think it would be a testament to the Superman brand more than James Gunn director, because I think Superman is bigger than anything Gunn has ever tried to do, like ever.
Yeah,
You
no, well,
know what I'm saying?
that's just a fact.
I think that's a global thing, right? You agree with that?
Yeah, no, that's a fact. Again, like I said last time, I think there's two things that'll possibly save the film, and that's like, yeah, one of it, the one end, it's the Superman brand. The other end, it's the gun fans, like, you know, the people that just love what he did with Guardians, and they'd love to see it here, you know, and possibly, yeah, like it could be that. I think it's hard to say, bro. To be honest with you, because
again, we're just saying if it does well. I know you.
Yeah, you're right. If it does well, no, even like, okay, like my thing is that even if it does well, honestly, I'm not so sure that it is more. Because as you said, it would be a testament of Superman. I don't know if that would be the case.
The brand over the director.
Yeah. So
relatively.
Yeah, relatively, it's for sure. I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true.
So you're saying the gun fans, if they turn up,
that'll be the reason, and that's what makes it success. Like, so I think it's about the opposite end. You know, I think it's actually the gun side of things that would be what. That would be the reason. It would be that, you know, it would be
the
that
Marvel connection. That's why because again they showed up for Guardians 3. That was the biggest Marvel film since Endgame.
Since Endgame. So that's what I think it would be. I don't think it's actually I don't think it's a Superman brand that would be the testament here of its success. It would be that. It would be the gun fans just loving this film because it's a gun film, and obviously it's obvious now that this is like that, you know, that this isn't no different. This is going to be no different than the Guardians films. It's Superman, DC characters acting the same way they did in the Guardians. Yeah. That's all that's if we're going to keep it a bug, that's what it is. Like, you know,
final question with that. Like, do you think the audience wants that? Like Guardians is what it was because it was like unknown. It's what I feel. Guardians was unknown. I think it hit. I didn't read a Guardians comic book before. I'm gonna give Gunn that credit. I give Nicole Perlman a lot of credit. I was canceled off Twitter because I put a lot out there about how Nicole Perlman built the Guardian story and all the characters, and Gunn came in and kind of took her story, tried to steal her credit. But I'm not going to get into all that right now. But we would say Guardians 3, I give Gunn all the credit for that. That was his story, his screenplay. He capped off that trilogy even better than, you know, the previous films, right?
Right.
That was him. So do you feel that's a testament? Was that more of a Marvel win, or was that more Gunn? If you think about that for a second, when Guardians 3 came out, what was this, 2022? Was this
2022? Yeah, 2022.
After Endgame, everything was failing for Marvel, and then Guardians did close to 900 million. Was that more Gunn or Marvel? Because Marvel was at a down point. Like, do we give Gunn credit? Do you give Gunn credit for Guardians 3?
I still feel it's a mix there. Simply because Guardians, though, Marvel was having like its downturn, but it's because the stories that followed didn't connect well to, like, you know, it didn't really connect well with the whole, like, what came before it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where Guardians, it's still part of that story. It's still connected well.
It's still continuing something.
Yeah, from that Endgame situation. And I think that's why it was good. Like, that's why it landed, because it's like it properly, you know, continued off from that point, and it was still part of that legacy, right? Because everything after it was they're trying to continue, right? It was like we're trying to continue off of that point, but then it was like it's you already know that it doesn't really connect to the Iron Man because Iron Man's dead, Captain America's old, or whatever. So everything else was like it was like a breakaway from the previous legacy, where Guardians was very much still part of that legacy. So, but now the reason I say it's a mix is because I will give credit to James Gunn to giving properly doing that, right? Because that's still part of his job.
He
right?
executed that.
You know what I'm saying? He executed that.
Because
Where
the Marvels
you
didn't.
the Marvel,
Ant-Man, Quantumania
well,
did.
and again, those films are weird. Ant-Man for sure would be a testament of that. Like, okay, that you guys didn't clearly. But then again, they were trying to introduce something new, right? With the whole
for the Jonathan Majors. And,
so so that's different, I guess. Because again, everything in Guardians, my whole point is it was still connected to things that happened prior to Endgame, right? Like the Adam Warlock thing. That was given to you.
That was a setup.
That was a setup way before, again. Like, so everything in that, again, in Guardians 3 is still part of a story that existed prior to the disconnect of bringing in something new. So that's why I think it landed. But again, still credit for that because you executed that, and that is what it is. You know, when you look at Ant-Man and actually that's probably not the best example. Probably the best example would be Thor: Love and Thunder, right? That's a character that's still coming from the legacy of the old, but the whatever Taiki, whatever his name is, I was
Taika Waititi,
he just failed to execute a proper story that continued.
Totally fumbled it.
Just totally fumbled it. You know what I mean? So that's that. You know what I'm saying? It's so again,
Gunn. So you're saying you're at least giving Gunn that credit that because you've seen other directors trying to follow the through lines of Endgame. They failed.
They failed.
Gunn did it again. Gunn did it.
Gunn did it thing. Gunn did his thing, and so again, that's why I say it's mixed. I give him his credit on that end, but it's obviously clear to me that it's because also it's part of the legacy that like
it
that,
is
that
part of the legacy. I mean, you had the Gamora storyline. You had things coming from Endgame, leading into Guardians 3, and a trilogy, right?
Yeah. And it was a trilogy.
So I give you the mix. I give you the mixed thing with that is that because like I said, I do give Gunn a lion's share of the credit
rightfully so
for Guardians 3 with that, but you can't discount the Marvel brand.
You can't.
I know people crapping on it and the series are being weird at times, but it's still a thing. Like because again, I keep saying like last summer I was in San Diego at Comic-Con. You had grandmas in wheelchairs in Hall H cheering for Robert Downey Jr. So I was like, oh, guys, like, Marvel's fine. You got grandmas going crazy over this. I was like, okay, they're fine. Just do an Avengers film. Yeah, right? Not playing around.
Pretty much what we're seeing.
What's connected with Avengers? You got Thor.
Yep.
Right. He's at RDJ. Obviously, they're bringing him back.
Yep.
You're going to see Chris Evans again. They're not going to fumble all that. So go with what works. They tried to go away from that big three or whatever, or the Avengers brand. And that's why I think you had the Ant-Man stuff and things like that. And that's why I give Gunn credit, because while they were trying to pivot away, Gunn came in with a pretty solid entry.
Right.
That made money. So again, that's the credit I'm giving them. Will they cross over to DC?
And it's fair to say probably he kind of probably already had that story in the back. Like you know what I'm saying? It was probably again, he already had he set us up, with the Guardians too. Like, like we knew this was coming. So it's like, again, it's true. He was just finishing the story he was already intending to give us, and like luckily again it fell in line with the very essence of like where Endgame ended. So it had that Gamora part of the story, but then still continuing with what we got in Volume 2. So again, it was really still living very much in the legacy of the Marvel brand.
And if Marvel would have had it, it would have came out earlier, like instead of his Suicide Squad film, because when he got fired,
exactly,
he was already trying to develop this Guardians 3 in like 21, or 20, and to come out in 2020. So yeah, I give you that he already had this story in mind. It was just about coming back and executing it. Exactly. And again, he executed it, but he was doing it off the back of that Marvel Endgame, Infinity Saga run, and that's probably why that film worked when others didn't, because Gunn was developing it years before. So that's fair. Yeah. That's fair with that, but we'll see, man. Like I said, by the time people see this, as we close it before my earpiece dies, people will see this before Superman drops. Some people are going to see it Monday. Actually, there's some Monday screenings, special screenings, and then I'm going to see it Tuesday, July 8th. So people will see it before. They'll see this video before July 8th. And hey, that's the time for talk is done, man. It's like all this marketing.
That's it.
All this stuff. Like This is one of the biggest films. I'm gonna tell you right now, like the discourse of the Superman film. It was a lot of discourse with the Flash film.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was a lot of Snyder Cut when I did my videos in 2021 or 2020 leading up to the Snyder Cut. That was huge every day.
Huge, yeah.
Flash kind of had discourse. Well, I would say Superman's right after Snyder Cut as far as engagement on my channel.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing it and see what people think, man. And I don't know if people realize by now with me, some people, most people do, but some people don't realize, like, I'm all about results. If this film comes out and falls on his face, we're gonna have a stream party every day. This is the biggest. This will be the biggest news in my space, that a DC film falls on his face, marketed this much.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, and hey, if it does decent, then there's another segment that's gonna be upset because I'm gonna be like, hey, it's doing these numbers. So we're gonna find out, Vega. We're gonna find out what it's gonna do, bro, as we close this down. What's coming up for you? You're doing the Chop Shop. Is that a weekly thing, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, it's a weekly thing. I'm trying to make it weekly. It's kind of been that I kind of took a break last weekend, but it's a weekly thing, and it's you know, it could be Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. You're gonna see me go live on the Chop Shop, and trying to usually talk to somebody to. And also, actually, Tuesday I'm gonna be chopping it up with Prime. We're gonna chop it up.
Cool.
So I got them on Tuesday. We're gonna be chopping
before that drop. Shout out to Prime.
Yeah. Oh man, shout out to Prime. Low key, he
has his opinions.
He does. He does. But he's really like big on, like, he knows a lot about the comics. So it's always great to talk to him and kind of get that information. And then he even hooked me up with those. I didn't even know this was a thing, you know. But this goes back to that whole how hard they were promoting BVS, and that's that there was these mini comics that came out that were in a sense the prequel storylines of these characters before the movie, which was really interesting. And so he sent them my way. I got to read them, and I'm like, yo, this is kind of cool. Like, it was really cool to like get these like prequel stories, you know what I'm saying, before the film. You know, would I prefer a Man of Steel 2 with Brainiac and you know, for sure, you know what I'm saying? But this wasn't like that either, though. Like, it was really cool. It was really, like, again, there were really mini comics. It's not like there was a full-fledged story. It was just very mini comic-y, but it was like introducing Lois Lane, like, you know, I guess her approach to who she is in BVS. Same thing with Superman, or the discussion around Superman was already being had in this comic. It was pretty cool. So that was pretty cool. You get to see Batman, where Batman is before the so like it was kind of cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I mean, obviously, I still enjoyed the film in theater without that.
You didn't need like the full setup, but nice.
But it's nice that they actually kind of had that, you know, and I didn't know. But yeah, so all that to say, I got Prime on Tuesday. We're gonna chop it up on the Chop Shop. I have another single coming out this month, probably within the next 2 weeks, called Barzellini. You know, just, you know, gotta remind everybody now and then, like,
serious.
You know what I'm saying? This is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I released the first couple that are like more, you know what I'm saying? You know, they're good songs, right? You know, but every now and then I just gotta remember, you know, remind everybody, like, yo, we still cooking hot bars over here. You know what I'm saying? The bars, y'all can still get the bars over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be called Barzellini.
How many entendres with that? We don't know. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out with that. but no, definitely, y'all should know on this channel. Y'all know Vega been doing the anthems of the channel. So the links in the description when y'all see this, his links for his music, and you know what I'm saying, the intros as well too. So always appreciate your thoughts on that, and appreciate you coming in with your opinions. I think we got a good, you know, segment of your thoughts, and then as we mentioned, you know, with another guest, we have another side of that. So it works pretty well. Works pretty well, and I'm just I guess the middle guy every time. So we'll see with that. But definitely appreciate, again, everyone checking this out. Appreciate Vega. It's when y'all see this, is the week of Superman.
Yes, sir.
The internet may implode. I don't know. Whatever happens, the internet may shut down. Right. No matter what this film does, good or bad.
That's a fact.
Especially if it's bad. I'm not even going on Twitter no more. After this film, I'm not gonna go on Twitter no more because it just goes. I'll be in the DMs, but I'm not gonna post publicly anymore after this film.
It's gonna be the purge on Twitter, bro.
It's gonna be the purge. It's
on
gonna be
Twitter.
crazy.
I'm a watchman, forever vigilant, steady watching and listening, disciplined, militant, killing these dudes that started visiting. What's the latest word, yo, still we need to know. Tell us what you heard, yo, still we need to know the ins and outs, who's walking out, buying in. We need to know your thoughts on what's new, what you do to stream a hell of a show. Let's go. One hell of a show, let's go.